tried to record this video for 2 times on like a video recording. But for some reason my phone keeps turning off, even though it's 70%. So I'm gonna try again. We'll see if this works. But I had a somatic release today, and I've been feeling in that somatic release a lot of grief, a lot of anger, a lot of anguish, and it just taught me like that grief, when it's so strong, the feeling, when we're feeling it over and over and over and over again, from extreme loss in some shape, way or form. You may have not had to lose your house, you may not have had to lose a parent, but that could be significant too. But that feeling of loss for those parts of you, the feeling of loss of safety, loss of what you should have as a human being, as a soul, as a person, when that's stripped away from you and you're left feeling so small in a shell of yourself, you feel immense grief that's so overwhelming. It turns inwards. And I think a lot of people don't realize how grief turns inwards towards yourself. How grief starts to sound like words of, there must be something wrong with me. I must be a bad person. Why is this happening? Does this say something about me? That is grief. That is grief that's so overwhelmed by your surroundings being so hard, that is trying to make sense of it. And the way it's trying to make sense of it is trying to question inside, because your system is so confused on why this is happening. Your system is so confused, and because your system, your body, your soul, your heart, your mind knows you should not be experiencing this. It knows that. It's intelligent. So it starts to question internally. And that can carry on for years, and we may not even realize it, how we carry grief within ourselves. Grief. Our inner child, our inner teenager, our inner adults of some point, 23, 45. Grief is the emotion and experience that happens, and it can project inwards like that. But as I was looking at my grief, as I was somatically feeling it and expressing it vocally, because that's what my system calls for, vocal expression. It doesn't sound pretty. It sounds like wailing. It sounds like noises you would not expect. The feeling of loss was so prevalent underneath it. And how I've seen it come up is, it's like a mother who lost their baby. We see it in movies, we see it in media, who lost their babies and they begin to cry. They wail. It comes out of their body. All these noises uncontrollably coming up. That's grief. And I'm here to say, that if you have these bouts of somatic emotional releases that sound like this, it is perfectly normal. and it's actually very stored, very old, ingrained pain that's coming to the surface. And I realized underneath all of this pain, feeling like I had no control of my surroundings and feeling like I lost autonomy to myself and my body, that underneath all of this sadness and grief and feeling like I was weak because I couldn't control what was happening, there was so much fire that came through. So much fire. It's like power activated within me. A power I didn't know I had, but always there all along. Always there protecting me. Always there protecting others. That stands up. That knows what I deserve and don't. A power that I'm saying from a woman's perspective, but I'm sure in males too, that we feel is bad. We are wrong to feel anger, right? That's what we're so taught. We should be this, we should be that. But anger is so necessary, so powerful, as long as it's controlled in an appropriate manner. Because like fire, it can be destructive. But my lessons have taught me how destructive anger is. That's why I had a problem with my anger, as in seeing it as bad. Anger was never bad, it was what was happening around that was the label bad. But I feel like that part is activated in me during this somatic release. But so much sadness is there. I heard the words innocent. You were so young. And it still makes me feel emotional hearing that and saying that again. But it's true. And as people who had to endure stuff that they did not deserve or should not have been put through, it's so important to get back to that truth that you were innocent and that you were so young to have endured and learned so much of these lessons that you learned. Like I said during this experience to myself, I feel like a 40-year-old with how much I've learned. And I felt this for a while. 15. We should not have had to go through that. But I want to say it from a soul perspective that we come into this life. We come into this life to learn lessons. We come into this life to gather strength, to gather power, to gather qualities of ourselves that we can only gather from certain experiences. So, as necessary as it is to acknowledge the feelings, to feel it, it's so important to feel it and to release it and let it go in a safe environment, in a safe way. As important as it is to do that, it's important to remember that we're learning this for a reason as well. And it's important to reflect on, what has this taught me? What have I learned from these experiences? I should have not gone through it, but what did I learn? For me, I learned about what true love actually is. Through all this pain, a part of me formed acknowledgement of what love actually is and what it isn't. Love is being held, love is being respected, love is being acknowledged, love is being heard. Love is being seen, not just when you're playing perfect, but when you're struggling. That's when love comes the most, to support you, to be there for you. I've learned what love is from not having it. Real love. Real love. And I know a lot of generations are taught to pretend it didn't happen. We don't need to acknowledge that. We just brush it under the rug and we continue our life as we are. We don't need to acknowledge it. We don't need to say anything about it, because that's too painful. But when you're the one who connects with people based on truth, and you're in that family and you're in that generation that don't believe the same truth as you do, in the sense of they want to push it under the rug and you don't, you're deemed as the bad one, the black sheep. And that's not fair either. But I've learned what real love is from not having it. And I used to feel very ashamed, is the word that just came into my head. I wasn't going to say that. But as I was saying, it's grief that turned inwards. And gained so much power. So much power from all of this. And I still try my best for people like my siblings, my younger siblings. I hold space for them. I try my best to be there. And I love them. But I and you should have not gone through what we have gone through. But what did we learn from it? How can we move forward? Not let it be the rest of our life. It's a common feeling, people who've gone through so much, to feel like they've wasted so much of their life. That's what came up to during this somatic release. The feeling of, I wasted so much. I lost so much. Because a lot of feeling like a lot of it has been wasted on feeling all of these emotions. But I want you to know that you're rightfully so for feeling all of these emotions. That's what makes you human. All of these emotions you've experienced is what made you human. You were reacting to your circumstances. It is not you. It is your reaction to what you know as a person, a human, a soul. You know inside what you deserve. You know. And that's the part of you that keeps fighting for you. The part that knows what you deserve. And it's a completely normal feeling to feel like you've lost or wasted so much time. So how can you step into your life with this awareness? And what would you do differently? Even a tiny change doesn't have to be so big. But how can you step into this world? Your feet walking on the soil. How can you change that feeling? I love you. Bye.